Hello everyone, welcome to the ITLS Academy. Today's lecture is on the topic new infant and preschool children. The nutrients regarding the infant and preschool children we are discussing today. So I'm taking the first topic as infant growth and development. So in the first year of live birth of weight, weight increased by 300%, doubling the first to 4 6 months, and height is generally increased by 50%. So growth then slows down as the height increases, as the years of growth increases. This rapid growth involves the tissue and organ maturation. That means that energy and nutrient requirements are higher relative to your body size during the first 5 years of the growth of the children. So all babies should be weighted at birth, and a weight and length and head circumference should also be recorded at the 6 to 8 week of check. So monitoring the child's growth is essential to identify any flattering growth, and length is to height, and weight and head circumference should be plotted on a growth reference curve. So an infant's growth should follow the direction of the growth curve. A serial measurements are necessary to determine the adequacy of the growth, as an once off measurement is only a reflection of size. So babies and young children could, however, be opportunistically weighted at their immunization and surveillance contact, particularly if there is a parental or clinical concern. Next is your dietary recommendation for infant and preschool children. So children that is greater than 5 years need a diet that is higher in your fat and lower in fiber content, as because they need fat for their growth and also for the central nervous system development. That is the main requirement for your brain development and boost up of your energy. So if children are growing normally, then uh, less than 2 years, parent can gradually start introducing the low fat to high fiber ratio nutrients choice towards for the balance of good health. Recommendations at age of 5. However, by the age of 5, they can follow the dietary guidelines. The total energy intake should be not be restricted. Next comes your breast versus bottle feeding. So breast milk is the best choice for infant feeding for many reasons, because infant formula have a different composition to breast milk and do not provide all the same benefits, particularly the immunological active components, or nor the same nutritional profiles and bioavailability. So the composition of breast milk is not homogeneous, because the colostrum is produced 1 to 3 days postpartum, eventually becoming the mature milk after 3 weeks. The immunological factors are not only present in colostrum produced during the first few days of the lactation, but it continues throughout the breastfeeding. So here comes certain benefits for the breastfeeding. If we talk about in terms of mother, it encourages the bonding between the mother and infant. It helps women to lose excess weight gained during the pregnancy. Breastfeeding stimulates the uterine contraction, and that helps to return the uterus to the normal size as it was before. Next is benefit is exclusive breastfeeding suppresses the ovulation, and therefore helping the iron stores to return to the normal condition. The breast milk is free, except that mother needs the extra nourishment. It is a convenient method, it is convenience, and no preparation is required for feeding their children. It reduces the mother's risk of developing any pre-menopausal breast cancer. And if we talk about in terms or in regards with your newly born child for infant, breast milk offers a complete nutrition to them for the first 6 months, and they have high bioavailability of nutrient that is being provided by their milk mother. The infants are less likely to experience any gastrointestinal infection because as there is no need for access to clean the water, and which can be a problem in developing countries in particular areas. Preventions of other infection diseases, especially your respiratory, your ear infection, urinary tract infection, and also breastfed babies are less likely to be obsessed in later childhood. So, in terms of breastfeeding, if we talk about breastfeeding, promotes a protective factor in breast milk. There is a protective factor that is present in the breast milk, and that is why it is more preferably advised to the mother to give their breast milk for up to 6 months after the childbirth. The first factor is your that it provides you the immunological active component, which means the lactoferrin, cytokines T, and the B lymphocytes, neutrophils, your macrophages, your immunoglobulins, lysozyme growth factor. These all are the growth factors. These all are the immunological factors that are that are present in your breast milk in abundant quantity. Next protective factor is your essential long chain fatty acids. That is, it is important for cell membrane structure, especially for the central nervous system development. Most infant formula only contain the precursors, that is, the linoleic acid and the alpha linoleic acid. So, besides the immunological factor, it also contains the long chain fatty acids and also have some nutrients in the breast milk that is rich in vitamin A, D, E, and PUFA, and also free amino acids compared with the infant formula. And along with this, some oligosaccharides are also present in the mother's milk. That is, the breast milk contains more than 100 different oligosaccharides that helps normal brain development and to make stools easier to pass, and therefore reducing the problem of constipation in newly born child. So the next topic is your promoting and establishing the breastfeeding. The DH 2003 recommends exclusive breastfeeding, nothing else but breast milk or not even water, for the first 6 months, that is up to 26 weeks of the life, following a systematic review conducted by the WHO 2001. So, and it is had been estimated that approximately 10% of uh, in any countries the infants meets their this requirement of first 6 months having only that is could rely on breastfeeding. Although two-thirds of women breastfeeds at birth, a third of these stop after first few weeks, and this rapidly declines thereafter. So promotion of breastfeeding needs to be a part of an effective infant feeding policy. The training under this, the training needs to target all the health professionals to emphasize both the enormous benefit of breastfeeding and also the appropriate technique so that women receives the consistent message throughout their care. The maternal education needs to begin parentally by local healthcare service providing the breastfeeding classes and a written support including the leaflets also, and the father, the family, and or the friends should also be encouraged to participate so that the woman can be offered support regarding the breastfeeding for first 6 months to the new infants. There is a focus on changing attitude and knowledge of the techniques, the recommended length of the time to continue the feeding. So there are many reasons for why to choose the feeding method, means which feeding method you used to prefer. First is your breast, and next is your the bottle method, bottle feeding method. But the most convenient method in my terms is your breastfeeding, because it is best for the babies. It is the more convenient method, and it generally creates a closer bond between the mother and the newly born baby. And also it is a cheaper method because you don't have to buy the milk outside from your house. And suppose if you are going through the bottle feeding for the new infant, that it is an another method for feeding your babies. Others can feed babies dislike ideas of breastfeeding, that is why they offer bottle feeding. So next topic is dietary recommendation for lactating mothers. Okay, lactating women should follow the general healthy eating guidance in the balance of the good health. But beside this, care should be taken to meet the extra requirement for the energy, your protein, the three fat soluble vitamins, five water soluble vitamins, and also the minerals. In particular, when women is breastfeeding exclusively, her nutritional status will be compromised before that of the infant. So, on a practical level, this can be achieved by a woman eating larger quantities of healthy diet suggested earlier. So, in addition, women should also may should also consider these following points: that it should be that she should limit the alcohol to not greater than 2 units per day, as this will pass into the breast milk, affecting its smell and potentially the sleep pattern and digestion of the newly born baby. She should avoid the caffeine, as this will pass into the breast milk, and therefore the infant hyperactivity and sleepiness. Tea, coffee, cocoa, and cola type drinks are best avoided. And if you are addicted, then you should not take more than 4 cups a day. And it is generally suggested that it should be preferable if you take decaffeinated tea and coffee. Next is consume at least 2 liters of fluid a day to avoid any dehydration in your body. It is for the mother. Next is avoid spicy food, because that may alter the taste of breast milk if the infant appears to reject the milk as a result. Avoid vitamins and mineral supplements, because some exceptions are vegan, macrobiotic, or fruitarians women who may need vitamin B12 supplements, and the women following the dietary restrictions, for example, cow's milk free diet. These are the women with poor dietary intake should see a dietitian if they are have to take the vitamins and mineral supplement. It should also be avoided peanut or foods containing the peanuts if there is a family history of allergy, because some of the infant finds some allergy of when peanuts are being eaten. So to avoid this, if your family background is going through the peanut allergy, then it should be avoided by the mother. Next is 10 steps to successful breastfeeding. First, have a written breastfeeding policy that is routinely communicated to all the healthcare staff. Train all healthcare staff in skills necessary to implement this policy. Inform all pregnant women about the benefits and management of the breastfeeding. Help mothers to initiate breastfeeding within an hour after the birth. Show mothers how to breastfeed and how to maintain the lactation even if they are separated from their infant. Give newborn infant no food and drinks other than the breast milk unless medically it is indicated. Practice rooming in, allow mothers and infant to remain together for 24 hours a day. Encourage breastfeeding on demand. Give no artificial teats or dummies to breastfeeding infants. Fosters the establishment of breastfeeding, supports the group and refers mother to them on discharge from the hospital or clinic. Next is the contradictions to breastfeeding. Besides breastfeeding, there are some problems of during which women's going through. First is HIV positive women. By vertical transmission from mothers to infant, breastfeeding increases the risk transmission by up to 20%. Mothers with untreated TB should not breastfeed. Mothers with hepatitis C who have cracked or bleeding nipples should also avoid the breastfeeding. Women who smoke or occasionally drink alcohol can still breastfeed. However, smoking will lower the vitamin C content of the breast milk, and even so, it is still preferable to infant formula. Certain drugs, if women have some certain drugs, illegal drugs will pass into the breast milk, and therefore users should not breastfeed. Some types of breast surgery, if have been happened to the mother in the earlier time, then also breastfeeding should be avoided. Infant with galactosemia, as they cannot metabolize galactose present in the breast milk, lactose-free infant formula should be used beside the breastfeeding. Next is establishing bottle feeding. So women who choose to bottle feed should not be made to feel guilty or inadequate as a result of their decision. Once this choice is made, they need to be advised and also need to be supported accordingly. Mother's breast will return to normal size quickly. The modified cow's milk infant formula will meet all the nutrient requirements, but all the protective immunological factor will be absent in that milk. First is your combining breast and bottle milk. Means if a mother is combining both the milk, besides giving the breast milk, she also prefers to have a bottle feeding also. Then after breast milk is well established, 4 to 6 weeks, that is, it may be possible to combine breast and bottle milk where circumstances dictate. For example, it could be done for those women who are in job profession. Women returns to work, woman is exhausted physically and also mentally from feeding continuously. So this is preferable to stopping breastfeeding entirely, but is not the ideal option, as exclusive breastfeeding is recommended for the first 6 months of the newborn baby. So you can combine the breastfeeding milk along with the bottle feeding, and it is a convenient method for those women who are in the job profession or somehow could not manage to feed their babies continuously. Next is choice of infant formula. Suppose you are going through a bottle feeding, you choose the option for bottle feeding to your baby, then you have to choose the infant formula. The first one is whey dominant, that is ratio of whey to casein or should be approx in that formula to 60 to 40%, 60 to 40 ratio. Whey based formula is recommended as it is most closely resembles the protein structure of the breast milk, and most of these formulas now contain the long chain poly unsaturated fatty acids also, and the nucleotides that were previously absent. So sometimes some of the organic and other contains the prebiotics or have been modified to be more easily digested to aid reflux and constipation problem in the babies. The next formula is casein dominant. You can choose the infant formula that is dominant in casein. So weight to casein ratio should be approx to 20 to 80 and similar to the doorstep cow's milk. They are marketed and perceived by parents as milk that can be that can help to fill up the babies as they get hungrier around 6 to 10 weeks, but they contain the same calories as the whey dominant milk, so they do not usually contain any extras. Next is your soya based formula. The infant formula based on soya are not recommended for the infant under the 6 months of the age due to the phytoestrogen content, which may have long-term effect on the infant's health sensitization to soya protein, and therefore they should only be used in exceptional circumstances. For example, it is used for those vegan mothers who do not breastfeed, infant with the cow's milk intolerance or allergy who consistently refuse the elemental formula. Next, the most common is goat's milk formula. Infant formulas based on goat's milk protein are not suitable for the infant who are intolerant or have some allergies to cow's milk formula. Goat milk derived formula are also unsuitable for babies who are affected by the lactose intolerance problem. Next formula is infant formula and energy. Although the energy content of the breast milk is reported to be 70 calories per 100 ml, and this is based on the energy content of the milk obtained by completely expressing the first breast. So, this is unlikely to be a true representation of a suckled human milk, and doubly labeled water studies the of sucked human milk have suggested values of some 53 to 58 calories per 100 ml and at 6 weeks and 3 months respectively. So the scientific committee for food recommendation maximum energy content of 60 to 70 calories per 100 ml for both the standard and follow on infant formula. So whatever the formula you choose, the calories will be 60 to 70 calories per 100 ml will be given to the newborn babies. The last topic is healthy start scheme. In many countries, the welfare food scheme established in 1940s as a wartime measures the entitled pregnant women and children greater than 5 years receiving certain benefits to token of their cow's milk or cow's milk based infant formula per week and free supplement of vitamin A, C and D. This is being replaced by Healthy Start Scheme, that is the NHS Plan 2000 stated that the welfare food scheme needed to be reformed to use the resources more effectively to ensure that the children aged of poverty have access to the healthy diet with the increased support for breastfeeding and parenting. Now, the new scheme of Healthy Start involves a broader range of foods. That is, it includes the fresh food, vegetables, initially with the plan to increase the range of food over time, as well as the cow's milk and infant formula. So during this, fixed value vouchers are issued so that they can be exchanged in a wide range of outlets and are of equal values of both the breastfeeding and non-breastfeeding mothers. So the age of children eligible will fall from 5 to 4 years, and milk or fruit will be available in nurseries, and free vitamin supplements will continue to available as a part of the scheme, but their formulation is under the review. So healthy start is open to the pregnant women and families with the children under the age of 5, who are in the receipt of certain income support benefits or less than the 18 years. So beside this, healthy start scheme is also a good scheme that is be a beneficial scheme for the children and also open for the pregnant women. Next is the weaning topic. Okay, weaning weaning the 6 month is the recommended age for the introduction of solid foods for the infant, whether they are breastfeeded, fed solely on infant formula milk, or taking the breast and infant formula in combination. So weaning is generally the process of introduction of solid food to the children after the 4 to 6 months of the baby. So it is the recommended age for weaning has increased from 4 months, and although waiting until 6 months is recommended, babies should not be weaned earlier than 4 months. That is, you cannot give the solid food to the babies before the 4 months. Means after they reaches to after they crosses the month of four, you could be able to give the solid foods to the babies. So weaning is necessary because at 6 months of age some nutrient requirement increases, especially those for iron, B vitamins, and energy, protein that cannot be met by milk alone. Also, the neuromuscular coordination is sufficiently developed at 6 months to enable the child to eat the solid foods. So the overall aim of weaning is to introduce the infant gradually to a range of food texture, flavors so that the normal family foods are taken up at the age of 12 months. If the parent choose to start weaning before 6 months of age, food should be introduced gradually, starting with the fruits, vegetables, rice, potatoes. If starting weaning from 6 months of age, babies will need to be exposed to a variety of foods from the outset, especially those containing the iron. Foods can be offered 2 to 3 times a day or of either thick purees or mashed textures and fingers foods, etc. So weaning from 6 months of age is simpler as there are few foods that cannot be offered. As breastfeeding is baby led weaning is being favored by some. Emphasis is on the baby's self feeding and discourages the use of spoon feeding. Therefore, weaning is a good process. It is good and healthier for a child. If you introduce weaning process means giving the solid food material to your babies from the at the age of 6 months to fulfill all the requirements, all the nutrients that must be required by your babies. Next is flattering growth. Okay, faltering growth. Weight faltering is defined as the weight falling through the centile space, low weight for height, or no catch up from the low birth weight. Growth faltering is defined as the crossing down through length or height centiles as well as weight, a low height centile, or height less than the expected from the parental heights. That is known as the faltering growth. Means the height is or weight is less as compared to the parents. Infant commonly shows some weight faltering in the first 12 years, but it may also affect the older children. As a guide, population study shows that 1 in 20 children, that is less than 2 years, shows a sustained fall to a 2 centile space for weight, and 1 in 100 children greater than 2 years shows a sustained fall through pre-centile space. The consensus statement by a multidisciplinary group of experts in the field of faltering weight and growth in young children is available, and only 5% of the young children whose weight growth falters will have an organic root to the problems. So, there are some possible dietary and social cause are also be there. So, that is main cause for faltering growth. That is, first is insufficient calories intake is a major cause. Sometimes formula milk too weak or it is too concentrated. Late weaning, that is greater than 6 months. Prolonged use of feeder bottles, having fuzzy eating or behavior problems at mealtime, physical feeding problem, that is, for example, gastroesophagus reflux or oral motor dysfunctions, over health conscious parent or carrier I diet low in fat and high in fiber, inadequacy of nutritional content or frequency of meals, or sometimes illness, although it is rare for serious organic disease to present with the weight and or growth faltering alone. Next problem arises is constipation and toddlers diarrhea. The constipation is much more common in fed babies, infant formula, compared with the breastfeeding babies. The potential contributing factors including the fatty acid position on triglyceride molecule and prebiotic that are lower in the most formula milk. The potentials constipation due to low fiber intake and sometimes low fluid intake is relatively common in many countries. A higher fiber diet should be encouraged, containing the food that are acceptable to the child, and there should be an encouragement for the fresh and dried fruits and vegetables, for pectin and bread and breakfast cereals for the cereal fiber will relieve the symptoms along with the plenty of the fluids, preferably as water. Fluid requirements vary with the age. That is, for example, an average of 4-year-old boy will need at least 85 ml per kg body weight or equivalent to 5 mg of the fluid for 15 kg boy. Next problem is your toddler's diarrhea. The main symptoms of this is frequent loose stools containing the undigested food stuff is the main symptom. Usually, the self-limiting problem occurring in otherwise well infant that is greater than 3 years who are gaining weight and growing satisfactorily, commonly due to immaturity of the gastrointestinal tract, and as well as reassuring parents that the condition will cease spontaneously. Dietary treatment is to avoid large quantities of the sucrose fruit and fruit juice. And also there is a requirement to reduce dietary fiber intake. In that, choose white bread and avoid high fiber cereals, and also to avoid fiber dense fruit vegetables such as peas, sweet corn, and temporarily reduce consumption of the fruit vegetable in general. And also next is to ensure sufficient fat in the diet. Where there is not possible, a fat based nutritional supplement cannot be useful in addition. Thank you for being with us. I hope you have understood all the importance of breastfeeding and bottle feeding for the infant. What are the nutrient requirement for pre-infant and preschool babies? Regarding this, for more information, please log on to our website www.itlsacademy.com and register yourself. For more information, you can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, LinkedIn. And yes, do not forget to subscribe our channel ITLS Academy at YouTube. Thank you.